What makes me happy? I find happiness in the little things mostly, I'd say.
What makes me happy is sitting with a hot cup of cocoa in the winter in front of the fire.
I find it in other people's smiles, and I try and find happiness in most situations, regardless of how hard they might be.
Other things that make me happy are being with friends and playing sports. That's really lame, isn't it?
Come Monday when I quit my job, I won't be happy.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Null, and I'd like to welcome you to a continuing part of our series on self-empowerment. Today, the topic is how to find happiness in an unhappy world. Now, all of us seek happiness. In fact, that's one of the whole purposes of life, joy and happiness. But if we're all trying to be happy, and most of us are succeeding at various things, we have good educations, we have families and careers, and an awful lot of people are even financially well-to-do, then why aren't we happier? Almost everyone you speak with has problems, all different types. So what I intend to do is to explore some of what I believe are the primary causes for our lack of happiness, and then focus upon things that will provide us a solution. Now, mind you, these are merely some suggestions. By no means should you limit yourself to these particular perceptions, but at least they're a jumping off point for yourself.
We haven't been taught how to find true happiness. When you look for things in this world alone to make you happy, you're going to be disappointed. So there's no perfect relationship, there's no perfect car, there's no perfect meal that doesn't have more needed to keep one satisfied.
So my happiness is my responsibility. My well-being is my responsibility. If there's something going on with me that is out of harmony, that isn't working, that I'm displeased about, it's my responsibility to fix that.
We should not allow ourselves to be boxed in to our beliefs and then labeled with that. How many times have we found that we are not able to think outside the box because we become the box? You're Republican, you're a Democrat, you're conservative, or you're a Catholic or Jew. You're a person from a particular socioeconomic group or a certain race. Now, not that we cannot do that. The problem is we're all a part of various belief systems, but the belief systems should not determine how we feel about ourselves. What if you're a doctor? What if the treatment, what if the diagnosis has nothing to do with what's really happening in that person's life? Did you really sit down and take the time and energy, ask about the diet? Was it underactive thyroid that could cause mood swings? What about if the person's just having a bad time?
Perhaps their relationships now are going well, or maybe they had money problems, and their life situations were begging them to change the course in their life. The life situations were telling them something was wrong and you need to fix it. But instead of fixing their lives, adjusting, making changes, they simply changed the way they felt with medication. As a result, their lives went on as dismally as before. Nothing was changed, and eventually they found themselves worse off than ever.
Maybe they've had some losses. And isn't it reasonable when we have losses, we're not going to feel good? Loss of a pet, loss of a loved one, loss of a friendship, loss of a relationship, loss of a job, even the loss of how our body once was, the elasticity of our skin, the dynamic muscles that we once had, the strength, the endurance, the stamina, the vitality, the clarity of our vision, our senses, our sensuality, our libido. When those are diminished, ask someone, do they feel good about it? It's a bad moment. And life is made up of a lot of bad moments, but it doesn't mean that we have to sustain the bad moment. We can experience it, be honest with it, and let it go. You let it go because you understand your life is more important than the bad moment you're in. How you feel about yourself is more important than the crisis you're in. Look at every crisis, look at every bad relationship, look at every bad moment as merely a point that you're going through like a rainstorm, and sometimes it's just pelleting you so hard you don't think you're going to make it. You almost feel immobilized and down. But then you look and you see there's a rainbow on the other side. Whether I see it or feel it in this moment, this storm will end. And every passage in life begins a whole new process of rediscovery, renewal. So don't get stuck with your mind, always dealing with how you feel about a problem. And then you're no longer stuck by being in that box. The box does not determine who you are. The box does not limit you. That's what's important. So when I say that happiness is frequently limited by how we box ourselves and how we label ourselves, get rid of the labels. Get rid of the boxes. Become an independent thinker. It is only when you think clearly independent of everyone else that you're able to see something for what it is. If the only time you can visualize something is through someone else's belief system, then what happens if that belief system is wrong? What happens if that visualization is wrong? Well, then everything you're going to be a part about in itself is wrong. So happiness is as much what you get rid of as what you bring in. People think that I have to go find happiness. I'm going to go find happiness. You're not going to find happiness. Nobody goes and finds happiness. Happiness isn't out there. Happiness is not in you, younger you, more stud you, beautiful blonde you, rich you. Or you wouldn't know that by the magazines and the ads, would you? No.
How does the mass culture help you? It's nothing. There's nothing there for you. And so if you're a child as well as an adult, and you've gone through life responding to whatever the marketeers give you, the advertising campaigns want to sell you, and you've never thought more deeply about life, then when life doesn't go well and what the marketers and the advertisers promise you doesn't come to pass, and then you're confused and you panic, and then you naturally reach for something like medication. And so in a way, the children and the adults, they are all part of the same culture, and they're gripped with the same problem.
When one is seeking happiness outside of oneself, which, by the way, is the setup of society, the entire commercial world of media and commercial society, the marketplace, is designed to feed us with various pleasurable items with the ticket called happiness. And of course, if anyone goes along that path for any length of time, they will most likely come to a place of realizing the inherent emptiness of that path.
I think that the key to staying happy in an unhappy world is to follow your bliss and your passions. And if you continue to do things that you're passionate about, then you can continue being happy.
My name's Abby, and what makes me happy is acting and my dog and just like little things like sailboats.
So you got to understand what we're really doing. I mean, almost always we're looking for something that we think that when we get it, we're going to feel good about ourselves. That's why we're willing to commit ourselves to this. So we just think more. Happiness has nothing to do with more. It actually has to do with less. So the very first rule on being happy, unclutter your life of everything that complicates it. Our lives are mercilessly complicated. We spend an inordinate amount of time and effort and energy making our lives complicated, and we shouldn't. Now, I want people to realize that you should make a list. Make a list of everything that complicates your life. Everything, or everyone. And then look at it honestly and say to yourself, what am I doing that I could lessen or undo? It's just like a person who's toxic. 50% of all the health benefits that accrue to someone when I'm counseling them comes from what they stop doing. Because I'm also saying now de-stress. So when a person is de-stressing, they feel great. They feel fabulous. Just to deep breathe and learning how to breathe diaphragmatically and taking their time. And I give them a simple little way of using kinesiology and acupressure points. You take 3 fingers and you take it right up on the eyebrow and you say to yourself, I no longer want these thoughts. And you just tap there for about 60 seconds. I no longer want these negative thoughts. I no longer want these negative thoughts.
You know, one procedure we can use is called the EFT, the Emotional Freedom Technique. And if I've had a bad past experience and I'd like to clear that out and not carry it with me, I could simply hold my fingers up here with a statement of intention to myself. I instruct my mind to go to that place where that information is encoded for the purpose of releasing it. It might even be back to something that I think probably happened when I was a baby, but I never remember it. But I can instruct my mind just like instructing my computer to go to the place that information is there. And then with the intention to release it, I can tap on my eyebrow with that intent. Might be thinking to myself, I'm releasing all the effects of that trauma. And on the side of my eye, I'm releasing all the effects of that trauma. Anything that disturbed me from the past, I'm letting that go. I'm erasing that program from that encoded information in my brain. I'm letting it all go because I want to return to happiness and just be in the present moment now. I don't want to be going to the past.
And lo and behold, look how many people no longer have those thoughts because they're changing the circuitry. Remember, everything you do has a capacity to change something that was there that you didn't want.